Deep beneath the rugged landscape near Iran's Natanz nuclear complex lies a mountain that has become the center of growing international attention. Known publicly as Pickaxe Mountain, the site is believed to contain a network of tunnels built far below layers of rock, making it one of the most difficult targets imaginable for any air force. Satellite images have shown expanding entrances, construction activity, and reinforced access points, but the true purpose of the complex remains uncertain. Iranian officials have described it as a facility linked to centrifuge production and nuclear infrastructure, while outside analysts suspect it may also serve as a protected location for sensitive equipment, enriched material, or future uranium processing operations. That uncertainty is exactly what makes the site so important. If the underground chambers are as deep and hardened as experts believe, ordinary bombs would likely cause little more than surface damage. Any military mission against the mountain would require stealth aircraft, precise intelligence, specialized weapons, and careful planning. This is why the B-2 Spirit has entered the discussion. Designed to penetrate heavily defended airspace without being easily detected, the B-2 is one of the few aircraft capable of carrying the massive bunker-busting weapons needed for a mission of this kind. Yet even with that capability, the central question remains: can a bomber truly destroy a facility buried inside a mountain, or would an attack merely delay its operations? The site's defenders may assume that concealment and depth provide enough protection to discourage attack, but the same features can also make it appear more threatening to foreign governments. As public speculation grows, each new road, tunnel opening, or construction phase is interpreted as evidence of a larger plan. That creates pressure for action even when the available intelligence remains incomplete. The stakes remain high. The B-2 Spirit was created for missions that demand secrecy, range, and exceptional striking power. Its flying wing shape reduces its radar signature, allowing it to approach targets that would be extremely dangerous for conventional bombers. It can travel across continents, refuel in the air, and deliver precision-guided weapons against some of the most heavily protected locations on Earth. In a possible operation against Pickaxe Mountain, the aircraft would likely take off from a distant base, fly for many hours, meet tanker aircraft along the route, and enter the region under strict electronic silence. American planners would also need to study Iranian radar coverage, missile batteries, fighter patrols, and command networks. The mission would not simply involve flying toward the target and dropping a single bomb. It could require electronic warfare support, cyber operations, diversionary strikes, surveillance aircraft, and attacks on nearby air defense systems. The B-2's most relevant weapon would be a heavy, earth-penetrating bomb designed to break through reinforced concrete and rock before exploding underground. However, even the largest conventional bunker buster has physical limits. A deeply buried complex may include multiple chambers, separate tunnel systems, blast doors, emergency exits, and independent power supplies. Because of that, military planners might focus not only on destroying the main underground halls, but also on sealing entrances, collapsing ventilation shafts, cutting power, and blocking transportation routes. The objective could be to make the facility unusable, even if every chamber cannot be physically destroyed. Weather, regional basing rights, tanker availability, and the risk of mechanical failure would all influence the timing. Because the aircraft and its weapon are rare strategic assets, commanders would need contingency plans for every stage of the flight. A radar alert could force a route change or delay. A strike on Pickaxe Mountain would depend less on dramatic firepower than on accurate intelligence. Before any aircraft entered Iranian airspace, analysts would need to identify the exact location of the underground rooms, the thickness of the surrounding rock, the direction of the tunnels, and the position of critical systems. Satellite photographs can reveal roads, tunnel portals, ventilation structures, and excavation debris, but they cannot easily show what exists deep inside the mountain. Intelligence agencies would therefore rely on a combination of thermal imagery, seismic analysis, intercepted communications, human sources, and historical construction records. Even then, important uncertainties would remain. If the main chambers sit more than 100 meters beneath solid rock, direct penetration may be impossible with conventional weapons. In that case, repeated strikes could be aimed at the same point to weaken the surface and drive later bombs deeper. Another option would be to attack the entrances and support facilities instead of the buried core. Collapsed access routes could trap equipment underground and prevent staff from operating the site. Destroyed ventilation and electrical systems could force a shutdown lasting months or even years. Still, Iran could build new entrances, repair damaged tunnels, or move critical material before the attack. This means success would be difficult to measure. A mission might appear impressive from the air while leaving much of the underground structure intact. The true result would only become clear through later satellite images, intelligence reports, and evidence of whether nuclear activity had actually stopped. Damage assessment would be difficult because the most important effects would occur out of sight. A crater at one entrance might appear decisive while another passage remained open. Limited surface damage may conceal internal collapse, making later intelligence equally important. The military challenge is only one part of the story. Any attack on a nuclear-related facility inside Iran would carry enormous political and strategic consequences. Tehran could respond by launching missiles at American bases, attacking Israel, targeting shipping routes, or using allied armed groups across the region. The Strait of Hormuz, through which a large share of the world's oil supply passes, could become a major pressure point. Even limited disruption there might send energy prices sharply higher and affect economies far beyond the Middle East. Iran might also reduce cooperation with international inspectors, withdraw from existing nuclear commitments, or accelerate its program in secret. Supporters of a strike would argue that allowing a deeply protected nuclear complex to operate without pressure could create an even greater danger in the future. Critics would answer that bombing the site might only delay the program while convincing Iranian leaders that they need a nuclear deterrent more urgently. There is also the risk of miscalculation. A carefully planned strike intended as a limited operation could trigger a cycle of retaliation that neither side originally wanted. Regional governments would be forced to choose how closely to align with Washington, while civilian populations would face the consequences of escalation. For these reasons, the question is not simply whether the B-2 can reach Pickaxe Mountain. The more important question is what happens the day after the bombs fall, when military success must be weighed against diplomatic collapse, economic shock, and the possibility of a wider war. Diplomatic channels could close within hours, while governments that had supported negotiations might distance themselves from Washington. Domestic pressure inside Iran could also strengthen hardline factions and weaken officials who favor compromise. Even a precise strike might create strategic effects that are difficult to reverse. Pickaxe Mountain represents a new kind of strategic problem, a hidden, hardened facility designed to survive the very weapons intended to destroy it. Its depth, secrecy, and location near Natanz make it a symbol of the long struggle between Iran's nuclear ambitions and the efforts of outside powers to contain them. The B-2 Spirit may be the most capable aircraft available for such a mission, but technology alone does not guarantee a decisive outcome. A bomber can penetrate defended airspace, deliver enormous weapons with remarkable precision, and destroy visible infrastructure. It cannot remove uncertainty about what lies behind thick rock or predict how an adversary will respond. Even a successful strike might only buy time. Iran could rebuild, disperse its facilities, harden future sites, or move more of its program underground. On the other hand, failing to act could allow the complex to become even more difficult to reach. That is the dilemma facing military and political leaders. Every option carries risk, and there is no simple solution. The dramatic language surrounding a possible smackdown may suggest a quick and overwhelming victory, but the reality would be far more complicated. The outcome would depend on intelligence, timing, weapon performance, Iranian preparation, and the broader regional response. In the end, Pickaxe Mountain is not only a target on a map, it is a test of whether modern air power can solve a deeply political problem buried beneath stone, secrecy, and decades of mistrust. The debate, therefore, cannot be reduced to the size of a bomb or the stealth of an aircraft. It involves the difference between destroying buildings and changing national decisions. Air power may impose costs and interrupt activity, but lasting security would still require inspections, diplomacy, deterrence, and an agreement strong enough to survive the crisis created by the attack. Without a wider plan, this mission could begin a longer war.